welcome to race update number 9. The last time we talked, it was right after or during the Everyman Challenge, and we haven't talked since the actual race. So I know it's a few days late. We're finally back in the shop, and we're kind of almost back to normal. So I'll give you an idea of what happened during the race and what happened after the race. So here we go. So Wednesday night, we knew what our qualifying position was going to be, and our race strategy began from the second we figured out where we were going to start in the race. Our goal all along was trying to get into the top 20 for the qualifying, and we ended up 18th, so that fit perfectly into the plan we kind of had up to that point. Because our car is a modified class car and has limitations, the limitations that were really going to hurt us in this first 53-mile desert loop were we were limited to 2.5-inch size shock diameter, and a lot of the guys are unlimited in that class. There's up to, there's 4-inch shocks in this class. We're limited to the amount of travel we could have. The shocks only have a 14-inch shaft, and that's unlimited in that class also. And the location of the shock was limited. It had to be on the axle. You couldn't put it in a link. We thought about rebuilding the car with more travel in mind and upsizing the shocks. But we'd worked a year to get this car to work so well with that shock package and that combination that knowing that it was going to be an endurance race this year, we decided to, instead of trying to start with a car that we hadn't had a chance to test and tune, we'd use a car that we were familiar with, knowing that we might have a little disadvantage in the desert because of the limitations put on us by that modified class. So knowing that we were 18th and the really fast guys that should be really fast in the desert were in front of us, it kind of played into our strategy. So this was a 3-lap race. The first lap consisted of all desert, and it was the toughest desert we've ever raced on as a Ultra 4 class. Because we had the modified class car and the limitations of the shock location and travel and size, we expected that the fast cars would really run away and it would be tough for us to maintain our position. We actually ended up moving from 18th to about 10th in that first lap. And I think a lot of that is because of the shocks we chose to use. Even though they were limited in size and travel, the Fox shocks performed excellent, and we were able to hold our own and actually gain on a few people. So the shock package was very important for that first 53 miles. Wouldn't be as important in the rest of the race, but it was still a big part of this race. Our strategy again was to try to get to aftershock before the masses got there, and just as we thought when we did get to aftershock, there was a car rolled over there. So there was a line that we had looked at several years ago in case something like this happened, but where none of us there was no tire marks on it really, and none of us had tried it because it was such a risky line. It was one we were saving for competition, and turns out we had to use it. And we used it, Eric Miller used it, and Trail Gear used it all at the same time to get around the same stuck vehicle. And then it became just part of the race course after that. But it was one of those ones that probably saved us 15-20 minutes if we had had to wait for recovering the disabled car. It actually worked out really well. We did back door on lap 3, drove up resolution, and didn't realize till later that we were one of the few that actually drove up back door. Again, I credit that to the well-built car. Thank you to our crew. But traction, I mean, that's everything on back door, and these BFG KRTs were unbelievable on there. The car had no mechanical issues to speak of, or major mechanical issues. None of the things that normally break on a race car broke. Heat was a big issue. Even though it was cool that day, heat seems to be a problem for a lot of people with between steering and transmissions and motors. Had none of those issues. Thank you very much, Griffin, for the cooling products that we had on there. And it seemed like there was a lot of people who were on the side of the road for drive shafts and axle failures, whether it be U-joints, shafts, or ring and pinion. And Curry supplied us with a brand new kind of a prototype high pinion rock jock, which got the drive shaft up out of the ground, and it also gave us a bigger ring gear in the back, which a lot of people seem to be breaking the Dana 60 ring gears. This has got a 10.5-inch ring gear, and we had no axle problems, no gear problems. Thank you, Motive Gears, for the gears actually. And no drive shaft problems, both because it was up out of the rocks. We still had some contact on the rocks with the drive shafts, which is inevitable in this kind of race. And the JE Reel drive shafts did everything we asked them to do. I could actually hear them grinding on the rocks as we're climbing. So another thing we saw quite a bit were either broken or bent links or broken heim joints, and we had none of those issues. FK Rod Ends has been a partner of ours from the very beginning, and we've loved their parts, and it's nice to have fresh parts every time we race. And then Rock Crawler actually provided us with aluminum links. We had tried everything. We kept going up on the tubing size and the wall thickness and heat treating, and it was always chromoly, but we never could make the links live until we got these aluminum links. So those are the things that we noticed most on the trail that were taking people out. Had none of those issues. The only issues we had nothing to do with the strength of the product we were running, but really kind of unusual things that happened. We lost the linkage on our transfer case. Again, had nothing to do with the strength of the Atlas transfer case. That thing worked flawlessly. I think a clip might have got left off in prep on the shifter linkage, and we lost it. So there was times when we were stuck in low range when we really wanted to be in high range, and times we were stuck in high range when we really wanted to be in low range. It cost us a lot of time, and we were able to, our crew was able to take parts off of my Jeep, the Daddy Longlegs, and put it on this Jeep's, or the race car, so we could actually finish the race without having to do 20 miles of desert in low range. We also had a bolt back out of our from our steering ram, the clamp that holds it on. Nothing to do with the steering system itself. It's just for whatever reason that bolt backed out. Could have been stuck on the trail for quite a long time, but thankfully Andy Brown was right in front of us, broke in the almost exact same spot, and his co-driver had ran back to the pit and brought a new ram, but when he brought the new ram for his rig, he also brought 4 new bolts. So we were able to borrow a bolt from Andy that actually was the difference between being able to finish the race or not. So it was enough to get us off the trail. We kind of babied it till we got off back to the pits, and then our crew was able to make a little more permanent repair that would get us to the end of the race by welding a plate across the clamps. None of these issues were any of the issues that you could ever, I guess, plan for, and none of the issues were major mechanical issues, but they did probably, I bet they cost us somewhere upwards of 3 hours, I would guess, between the time it took to get the repairs done in the pits and the time it took us to repair it in the field, and the time it took to shift the transfer case manually under the car every time we needed to do that until we finally got it fixed. So still put us, you know, even if with this 3-hour breakdown, we're still not, you know, Randy Slauson still beat us, so we're not saying that, that's what kept us from winning the race. We're very happy that our modified car was even a contender. It was, you know, in the top 5 for a while. Had we not had these mechanical issues, we could have finished top 5, but, you know, everybody could have probably finished top 5 had they not had these issues. You know, we were out of top 10 by a minute and a half. Our goal was to try and finish in the top 10 to prove that a modified car could do that. The difference between the top 10 and 11th was a minute and a half, and again, we probably rendered help to half a dozen teams. That probably cost us 15 minutes, whether it be a push, a tug, a loan of a tool, whatever it happened to be, a jump. But I would never give that up just to move from 11th to 10th place. I mean, I would gladly do that again, and we got a lot of competitors that helped us. That's kind of the nature of this race. So still pleased that we were able to help people on the trail, and still pleased that there was people that were willing to help us. So it's kind of a small community. We're all friends, and I'm glad it worked out that way. Because of some of the issues we had early in the race, our race didn't end till after dark. These trails are tricky enough during the day, but at night there's just big black holes, and kind of a scary thought when we were leaving the pits and it was turning dark. Thankfully, we had a pretty cool light package. Rigid has provided us with the brightest LEDs I've ever seen. It literally took all the holes out of the rock canyons and allowed us to go as fast as we possibly could across the desert with without any fear of surprising ourselves on some hole we didn't see. Also, and I need to mention it here, we had the coolest pit at King of the Hammers. MagnaFlow really helped us building the car with an exhaust and custom headers. It's the best sounding car out there, but this year they really stepped up and provided us with a pit trailer. Unbelievable how that changed how everybody felt. You know, everybody felt more professional because we had that trailer, but it made working on the car in the pit that much better. 2 tools were handy, the parts were handy. When we came back in after the race to see the 20 or 30 people that had helped us throughout the race in that pit for us, or waiting for us, it was the best feeling, I think, best feeling I've had in a long, long time. So thank you, MagnaFlow, for helping us out there. And I have to mention my buddy Randy Stockberger. He cooked for the whole crew all week, 3 meals a day. And they all, as a crew, agreed not to serve dinner that last night until we came across the finish line. It was almost 8 o'clock before we did. They all waited. We had a beautiful dinner waiting for us when we came back in the pits. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Jackie, for all your help, and Roxanne for allowing Randy to do this. And of course, thank you to my wife for putting up with what we do all year round to get here. After the race, we're all pretty beat down. That's why we're doing this today instead of the night after the race. But the next day I had another race. The Axial, who's one of our sponsors, actually built us this very cool replica of our race car. This is the Axial Wraith, and they had kind of a scale version of the King of the Hammers on Saturday after the race. And Eric Miller and myself, both race cars that look very similar to our race cars. Had a great time. I think they put us in the exhibition class because they didn't want us to get embarrassed by these the guys that took it really seriously and the kids that had much more talent than we had. So had a blast. I'll be back. I think Eric said the same thing. He'd love to be back. Thank you, Axial, for inviting us, and thank you, Axial, for this very cool replica of our race car. I've been playing with it a lot. I've actually been playing with it here in the shop. So thank you all for who followed along with us during the race week. Thank you for watching this episode, and thank you again for all the encouragement. If it wasn't for you guys and all the help we got, both during, before, and after the race, we couldn't do this. So thank you again to everybody that was involved, and thank you guys for watching.